no longer limited to or rely upon the people in our neighborhoods or the workplace to provide the interaction we crave. Some argue that we have shifted from the role of passive consumer to active participant in getting our news and information by which we establish our morals and social guidelines through a network of our own creation. What information we choose to share or forward to others, the individual superstructure we acquire, process, and reconstruct in our own image, tells others about just who we are, defining our very identity. Most importantly, the long reach in place to amplify these images, ideas, and values has never been allotted to us before. By extension, we are more literate, more engaged, and more connected than at any other point in human history. Above all else, we have more opportunity to generate new relationships and to be more aware of the world around us. We are now in the midst of the 21st century digital narrative, a narrative that promotes global citizenry and the multiplicity of perspective. Access to technology and social networking tools as they exist today are changing how we think, work, learn, and live. As during the last great split from the normative causalities of daily life, illustrated during the Industrial Revolution, today the entire template for daily living is being scrapped and replaced with a newly forming organic prototype. Canadians have passively absorbed the effects of the technological revolution now underway, to the point we often do not consciously recognize the grandiose shift that is unfolding. We have so normalized its existence that we often forget nearly 2/3 of the world's population does not have an internet connection. When seen through the eyes of a newcomer to Canada, it can appear to be an overwhelming task to upgrade to the digital literacy levels expected in Canadian academic and workplace settings. And this is where the Alberta Association of Immigrant Serving Agencies and its collaborative effort with the Calgary Immigrant Educational Society comes into play. As providing digital narrative professional development within the sector will arm its membership with the tools needed, both by practitioners and their clients, to best adjust to the very online life here in Canada.
I think you're right. There is a paradigm shift happening right now, and it includes a number of different facets that we've never really seen before. One of them is the fact that we can interact with our audiences now in a way that's different from any other marketing tool aside from social. It's extending the word of mouth phenomenon and how useful and important word of mouth is to the online audience, which means you can take it all over the world. So from a reach perspective, we've never seen anything like this before. And it's not just the internet, it's not just the ability to use the internet, it is the nature of social media is creating a dialogue, listening to what's happening in your industry, and being able to use that to inform what your next steps are.
A partnership with CIES and ASO would hopefully address the issue of technology and people being ready, able, and willing. One of the training sessions that I think would be very useful for instructors that I see a lot of the time when I'm out for my own training is a lot of instructors want to use technology in the classroom, but they're not quite sure what it can be used for. Specifically, if they're building a website, they think that it might be too hard or the boundary to entry is too difficult. So one of the things that a training session would be able to provide is, look, you don't have to hire someone specially to create something for you. It's so easy now to create content, and by providing this training, we're able to instill an understanding. One of the things that people should really be excited about with technology is that it actually has the chance to make things easier. A lot of people, when they're using it, they think of all the time they have to spend learning how to do it, and then doing that on top of the work that they're doing before. But it can be used to shorten the amount of time that you're doing everything in the first place.
So there's that interactivity is fundamental to what's shifting right now. The other piece of that is that the audience or your clients or your customers have power now. They didn't. You have social platforms like Yelp or any other Google reviews or any other review type of software tool, whatever, that lends credibility to what's being said because you can track it back to exactly who. It's said in their voice. It's more impactful and more credible than just a testimonial. And when they're unhappy with things, they can be vocal about it. So it's really given everybody more voice and more opportunity to be heard, regardless of the tools available to you. If you have the internet and you can interact with that brand online, then you have a voice.
On the internet, there's so much white noise, and there's so much to be said about every single topic. So people are getting very good at learning how to navigate through that. And so one of the important things is that for putting out content, being able to create something sophisticated using video is actually a little bit more authentic to the viewer, because it's something that appeals to their entertainment. It's something that we're looking for, that sort of sensory overload all the time. So being able to provide education or training in a way that's eye-catching, that's attractive, there's actually a lot of studies behind how you will retain that information more, rather than here's a book or learning at a distance and self-directed. Anything you can do to engage the viewer is going to give you so much more long-term retention. It's going to give you a lot more word of mouth. It's going to give you a lot more feedback about how you can make your own content better. Because when you listen to a podcast, when you watch a video on YouTube, you're engaging it in a way that's very personal. It's very much all about you.
Social is important as a tool in the same way that phones are important as a tool, but understanding that it is a tool. So this is an example I use because I'm a marketing instructor also. This is an example I use a lot. So you have a telephone. What is the ROI of that telephone? Question mark, shrug. What you use it for will determine some of that, and who uses it will determine some of that. So likewise social media. So if you have a very experienced cold caller with 30 years of experience in sales using that phone, the ROI of that phone is exponential. If you have a brand new student out of business school using that phone to help fundraise because they're a volunteer or something like that, then the ROI of that phone is going to be considerably less based on their experience and their ability to talk on the phone, etc. So it's not the phone that's the ROI, it's a tool. It's how you use it. Likewise, social media. It's how you use it.
Well, when we talk about using technology and you have people who want to use it, there is the desire to use it as a form of their own presentation. That, for example, if I was to give you a PowerPoint presentation, what you could do is you could go off and make an excellent presentation, but you might also be able to use it to create an ebook, or you might be able to use it to create a graphic or a poster using the software for something that wasn't otherwise intended. So in that case, it's both a tool and an instrument. It's something that can be used to enable other imaginative creations or ways of delivering content that you may not have thought of when you were creating the program in the first place. One of the benefits, I think, of a partnership between ASA and CIAS would be that there's a lot of people who are looking to use the technology because they need to or they have to. And one of the things is some people are looking to expand their resumes or build their careers. And by being able to provide some sort of training, either synchronous or asynchronously, we'd be able to actually provide that content for them in a way that probably hasn't been done before in this sector. A lot of money is being spent year after year investing in technology for technology's sake, and not a lot of attention is being paid onto why are we doing this. I think that with good training, as well as a real hard look at why we're using technology and what we're using it for, we can make better use of that money, and we can actually deliver results that are better for our clients.
I think the most important thing to consider when using social media as a tool is, do I interact with people online the same way that I interact with them offline? It should be a tool to reflect the brand. It should be a tool to reflect you, not thus the separate entity. So if I were to boil it down, then I'd say use all of your people skills and all of your communication skills, and as you normally would, person to person, face to face, be that online.
In today's fast-paced, gig-a-minute, multitasking world, one can often be left feeling there is little time to make the adjustment to the more technological environment of our day. But if we take the time to pull ourselves back from it all, an upfront investment in professional development will not only save us time, but allow us to be more efficient, and above all else, more connected to the needs of those we serve, thus aligning ourselves with today's digital narrative.